Welcome to the Rubber Chicken Report podcast. We cover everything from clowning and magic to balloon twisting and the business behind the fun. Subscribe and check us out on YouTube at the Rubber Chicken Report. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's get into this. When you picture clown shoes, you probably think, huge floppy things, right?
Totally. That's the classic image.
Well, get this. Their history actually goes way, way back, like 17th century.
Seriously. Okay, that's surprising right off the bat.
Yeah. So welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into the surprisingly complex world of clown shoes.
And we've looked at some really interesting sources for you. Custom shoemakers, professional clowns talking on video, Etsy shops.
Even, believe it or not, a connection to Vans shoes.
It's pretty fascinating how something that seems so simple, just fun, lighthearted.
Yeah, clown shoe.
Actually opens up this whole subculture. You've got history, serious craftsmanship, a whole market.
Exactly. It's not just about looking funny. It's a tool, it's expression, it's history.
Definitely.
So our goal today is basically to pull out the most interesting, maybe the most surprising bits for you.
Right. Give you a good handle on it, whether you're just curious or maybe, designing a costume.
Yeah, a quick but thorough look. Think of it as your shortcut to knowing way more about clown shoes than you did before.
So we looked at places like Capri Shoes. They're US-based, been doing this for ages.
Over 50 years, handcrafting custom shoes. And not just clown shoes, right? Stage boots, dance stuff too.
Exactly. And Oscar Navarro, he's the second-generation owner, took over in 92, I think?
Yeah, he learned the trade back in 1980 after coming from Mexico.
And he's really expanded it. They work with, major theme parks, movie studios, dance companies.
Big names. They moved to historic downtown Fullerton back in 2003. Still cutting and sewing by hand.
Which really says something about quality, that commitment.
It really does. But then, kind of on the other end, you had this place called Clown Shoes and Pie Shop. Look funny, be funny.
Huh. Okay. Different vibe already.
Totally different. They seem much more about, novelty items. They have Maddie McFun clown shoes.
Maddie McFun.
And they actually warn you, you will get laughed at wearing these.
Okay, that's pretty direct. Embracing the absurdity.
Right. They also do elf shoes, Santa boots. It seems like a broader costume focus, not the super specialized thing Capri does.
So right away you see the range. The really serious, bespoke, professional gear, and then the more off-the-shelf fun stuff.
Exactly. Now let's bring in what we learned from that YouTube video. It had professional clowns, Taylor Albin and Dean Kelly.
Oh, cool. What did they cover?
Well, the host, Billy Murray, he kicked off with some history. Mentioned those 17th century English theater roots.
Connecting back to that surprising fact you mentioned.
Yeah, and how 19th century clowns adopted them for comedy. But one of the first big points they make is you don't have to wear clown shoes to be a clown.
That's important. It's iconic, but not essential to the art form itself.
Right. And if you do wear them, things like practicality, color, design, those become really key.
Makes sense. It's part of the overall character and performance.
And the variety Billy showed from his own collection was amazing. He started with just practical black shoes.
Okay. Sensible.
Then these bright royal blue ones that looked great but apparently weren't practical at all.
The form versus function dilemma.
Totally. And then, this is wild, custom Nike sneakers, adapted for clowning, specifically for acrobatics.
Custom Nikes. Now that's adapting.
He said they were unique, like the only pair in the world. Really shows there are no strict rules.
That's fascinating. It's almost like performance gear, just clown style.
He also had these huge shoes from Spears Specialty Shoes.
Spears. Aren't they famous? Didn't they do the Grinch movie shoes?
That's the one. He mentioned that. And another pair of custom Nikes. These ones glowed in the dark.
Glow in the dark Nikes. Okay.
Shoes for specific characters, too, like a Boy Scout clown or a park ranger.
Wow, so very character specific.
And even special shoes for therapeutic medical clowning.
That really shows the range, doesn't it? Different shoes for different jobs, essentially.
Then Taylor Albin and Dean Kelly shared their stuff. Huge collections. And here's that Vans fact.
Right, the Vans connection. I'm still trying to picture that.
They actually showed a pair. It had an inner Vans shoe inside the bigger clown shoe.
A shoe within a shoe. That's clever for getting the fit right, I guess.
Must be.
Yeah.
Shows how a mainstream brand adapted to this, pretty niche market.
It really does. Adapting standard footwear.
They also talked about custom fit versus just getting bigger street shoes. Practicality again.
Crucial for performers on their feet all day.
Taylor mentioned his ringling shoes, made by Spears. Said they felt light, like sneakers, even though they were longer for the character.
So getting the look without sacrificing too much comfort or agility.
And Dean Kelly had these Clownverse shoes, like Converse style.
Clownverse, love it.
Apparently, they were first made in Mexico, but then he had Capri shoes connecting back, remake them to be more durable.
See, there's that quality focus again for professionals. Capri stepping in.
Dean also had a specific length. He liked 14 inches for his circus shoes.
Yeah.
Again, practicality, not just giant size for the sake of it.
Right, challenging that automatic assumption of just massive, clumsy shoes.
Then they mentioned custom leather ones from Wayne Scott, Jolly Walkers. You need really detailed foot measurements for those.
Bespoke tailoring, but for feet. That sounds like a serious investment.
Definitely. Comfort and fit are paramount. And the big question, what's inside them?
Yeah, always wondered that.
Well, a foam is common now for lightweight ones, but older, heavier shoes sometimes used horsehair to keep the shape.
Horsehair. Wow, old school.
They even mentioned hollow Peruvian ones with the sort of toe bubble. Just endless variations.
It seems like it. And not always bright colors either.
Right. You might assume bright red or yellow, but they mentioned plain black ones exist too from a place called Command Chain.
So it really boils down to the clown's preference and what their character needs.
Absolutely. And cost is a big factor, especially for touring pros. It's a real investment.
Makes sense. And you'd want to take care of that investment.
Exactly. They gave tips. Mild saddle soap, leather oil, store them carefully so they don't get crushed.
Good advice. These aren't just throwaway props, especially the custom ones. They're tools of the trade.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and look at the marketplace. Like, where do people get these? We found an Etsy shop. Clown Shoes Uncle Wally.
Uncle Wally on Etsy.
Seems pretty popular. Good reviews, like 4.8 stars or higher. Smooth shipping mentioned a lot. Walter's the contact.
And what kind of styles do they have? Price range?
Various styles listed. Red and white round toe,
Okay.
some shamrock ones, blue sky star, even a little flower design in a size 7. So different sizes too.
Okay, so not just huge sizes.
Price looked like around $143, $145, often with free shipping. And they mostly use PU leather, so fake leather.
Right, so probably aiming for a more accessible price point, appealing maybe to amateurs or party performers.
It seems likely. And the reviews were glowing. People saying things like, great communication, super comfy, even for long wear.
Oh, comfort's key.
Yeah. One person wore them 9 hours straight, said they were top quality, shipped fast, fit well. Sounds pretty reliable for what it is.
That's really positive. Shows you can get decent, comfortable options without going fully custom, perhaps. Good customer service helps too.
Then, over on eBay, there's Clown Mart, run by Guillermo Ortega out of Mexico.
Yeah.
He's apparently got over 20 years of experience.
Okay, another experience maker. You can even email for a catalog.
Yeah. And his price point seems sort of in the middle, like around $260.
So more than Uncle Wally, but less than the really high-end custom guys like Spears or Jolly Walkers.
Right. Those could be $300 up to like $1,200 plus. Apparently, pros sometimes recommend Clown Mart for beginners.
Interesting. A stepping stone, maybe? Good quality, but not the top-tier price?
Could be. And the styles he offers on eBay. Wow. Tramp Hobo, U.S. flag, Smiley WhatsApp.
Smiley, what's that? Clown shoes. Okay.
Baseball theme, Charlie Chaplin style, even Santa boots. Wide range.
Definitely versatile, and the price is there.
Mostly around $185 to $250, though some were listed way lower, like $75, but marked as a Halloween sale.
Ah, promotional pricing, maybe. And feedback. Mostly good.
Yeah, mostly very positive, good communication, quality, craftsmanship, shipping, accurate descriptions, that kind of thing.
Wouldn't I sense a butt?
Well, there was one negative review mentioning wrong size and colors on an order.
Yeah.
But they did get a refund.
Okay, so issues can happen, especially with custom stuff ordered online, but it sounds like they resolved it. That's important.
For sure. Which brings us back to those really specialized custom makers.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned Spears, now Maddie McFun,
A big name in the business.
and Jolly Walker's Custom Shoes. They do handmade leather for all sorts of performers: clowns, Santas, pirates, acrobats, mascots.
For real theatrical focus, you can contact Mr. Jolly.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And they were featured on the news in Boston. WCVB.
So these are the folks at the absolute top end. Premium materials, custom fit, unique designs for serious performers.
That seems to be the picture. True artisans.
Yeah.
And now, for that final, really unexpected twist, Vans.
Right. I'm so fascinated by this. How did Vans get into making clown shoes?
It started kind of simply. They had this character, Squeaky the Clown, for store promotions.
Okay, an internal mascot.
Seems like it. And initially, pro clowns just started buying their regular style #24 high tops, but in like size 16.
Ah, so adapting an existing product.
But then in the 70s came the flapper. It was inspired by an employee, apparently super wide, low top, and clowns loved it.
So the clown's usage actually led to a specific clown model. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the construction was different too, not their usual vulcanized sole,
What do they use?
cold cure compounds, and full-grain leather. Lots of colors.
Full grain leather. Must have been pricey.
You bet. The three-tone leather high-top clown shoes were $60 back then. Regular Vans were maybe $10.
Wow. $60 was a lot then. So these were their most expensive handmade shoes.
Seems like it. And they even put a style #44 deck shoe, like the authentic, inside them.
That inner shoe thing again, really focusing on fit and maybe some structure.
They made it for about 14 years, apparently.
Yeah.
Even did custom options.
14 years is a decent run for such a niche product. Custom Vans clown shoes.
And here's the kicker. Ronald McDonald supposedly went to Vans for bespoke clown shoes.
No way! Ronald McDonald wore Vans.
That's amazing, isn't it? So, yeah, they don't make them anymore, but what a cool bit of history. Really speaks to that off-the-wall creativity.
Absolutely. It adds such a unique layer to the Vans story. Even the biggest names recognize their quality in that specific field.
So wrapping this deep dive up, it's pretty clear the world of clown shoes is, well, way bigger and more interesting than you might think.
Definitely more than just silly footwear. You've got history, craft, personal expression, practical needs.
And even big brands dipping their toes in. They're not just one thing. They really reflect the clown's character, what they need to do.
It's fascinating how looking closely at something like this reveals so much, craftsmanship, subcultures, how objects evolve.
Yeah, we see shoes every day, but focus on this one type, and suddenly there's all this history and innovation.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. And maybe that's the final thought to leave you with. Well, we've seen so much customization and personal meaning packed into clown shoes. What other everyday things around us might have similarly rich histories or variations that we just don't notice?
That's a great question, like maybe tools or kitchen gadgets or musical instruments.
Exactly. Things we see all the time. What hidden stories are lurking just beneath the surface of the ordinary? Makes you want to look a little closer.
That's it for this episode of the Rubber Chicken Report. Hit subscribe and catch us on YouTube for more adventures. Until next time.